This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in to another episode of the Onside Kick right here on MVP Sports. I'm joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, JD the Don. How are we doing today, JD?
Doing great. It's hump day, so
technically we are recording this on a Wednesday. It is hump day. These are coming out a little bit out of order. Also, I want to address the elephant in the room, JD. There's a big elephant in the room.
Yep.
I got a haircut.
Yeah, I noticed.
What's up, brother? That's the reference I was going for. Elephant in the room. I got a haircut. The only thing is Sketch didn't get a haircut during his apology. But yeah, got a haircut. I'm looking fly. I love the... Here's the thing, JD. I don't know if you've ever gotten a buzz cut. You know what my favorite part of a buzz cut is? Besides the, indentation on my head now from my headphones, is just doing this.
Yeah.
I've done this all day, by the way. Just doing this all day.
When I get a haircut, typically the back of my head is pretty buzzed down. So I do the same thing.
And you know what else I'm pretty excited for? And I don't know if it's better or worse. I'll ask you, JD, is the bald spot better?
Yeah, I would say it's better.
Yeah, you want to know why? You want to know why? Because all the hair is down to it.
Yeah.
It's not as noticeable when the hair is this long. That's why I get a 1, JD.
Hey,
I get a 1. Hide that bald spot. Eventually it'll be 0 and I'll be stone cold. There's only one thing that I'm kind of not happy about for my haircut today.
What's that?
If you've also noticed, I got the beard trimmed.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you ask me, everyone else has said it's all in my head. I feel like they went too short on the sides.
No. I feel like they evened it up.
Okay. Because to me, when I first got, I'm I can't grab it and do this anymore with it. But yeah, of course.
They made it tighter to your face.
Yeah, well, I mean, great haircut, but dude, it's just, I look at myself sometimes and I go, I don't know, this is exactly what I wanted. But as a fellow beard guy, you go and get your beard trimmed, or do you trim your own?
It depends. So the last few times I go get it done with my barber, just because if I'm trying to, if I'm going to go see my fiance now, I will.
Also, congratulations. First podcast, yeah. JD can say that.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. He's glowing, people. He's glowing.
Yeah. But when I'm trying to see her and look my best, I get it done from the barber. But if I just notice that's been too long, and then I'll do it myself. I just don't do that great of a job because I don't have the patience to spend 45 minutes in front of a mirror getting it.
I can't do it in the mirror. I'll move to the left and it goes right, and then I'll be like, no, I will leave this to a professional. But JD, there's people out there saying, guys, we don't care about your beards. We don't care about your haircut. We're here to listen to what? Sports talk, what? NFL, what? We're going to be talking about the NFC South today, JD. Before we get into everything, let's go through a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, if you're not in the greatest community in the world, what are you doing? The MVP Discord is down below as well. You can also support us. Click the Patreon page we have down below. You can watch these recordings of these podcasts live. You can ask us questions live. You can interact with us. Patreon, we have a ton of great rewards in that description. All of our socials are down there as well. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. Hit that like button. The YouTube gods love the like button, by the way. They love it. That's how they push our podcast out. And obviously comment down below. Also, if you want to hear the uncensored versions of JD or I slip up, say a little bit of a boo-boo, a bad word, you can hear that bad word without hearing beep over it. In my headphones, that beep sounded distorted, but we'll see how that sounds in post. But we're on Rumble also, MVP Sports and MVP entertainment. So go check out everything. Links down below. Check out our sponsor, also BETUS. More from them later. But JD, let's get into the NFC South. How we're going to do it, start with the worst team from last year, go all the way to the best team from last year, kind of talking about what we expect from these teams this year. We're going to start out with the Carolina Panthers. First off, who did the Panthers lose? Well, they lose Mac McClain, Marquise Haynes. They're losing Giovanni Ricci, Tyreek Cohen, Hayden Hurst, Bradley Bozeman, Deshaun Williams, Von Bell, Laviska Shenault, Camus Gruger Hill. I got to learn how to say that name. I might just be saying KGH because he's a Minnesota Viking now. They lose Smith Marset, CJ Henderson, DJ Chark, Jeremy Chin, Shaq Griffin, Gross Matos, Yaturmos Gross Matos, Frankie Louvu, and then that's it. I almost went on. Went on to the Bills, and I stopped right on time.
They did lose someone else.
Who did they lose? Give me it.
Von Bell.
They did lose Von Bell. Was that a trade though?
No, he just signed with the Bengals. They cut him. And...
Did they cut him recently though?
They cut it. They cut him at the start of free agency.
Okay, that's weird. He's not on. They did. I skipped right over him. Von Bell. There he is. There you go, JD. Von Bell. You only know that because he's a Bengal.
Yeah, back where he belongs.
Who did they bring in, though? What new additions via free agency did they bring in? Jonathan Ford coming over, Jesper Horsted, Felipe Franks, your own. Go Gators.
My own.
Felipe Franks coming in. TJ Smith, Cam Gill, David Moore, Nick Scott, Rashad Penny. God, I loved Rashad Penny. Kavan Cassian, Sam Franklin, Jordan Fuller, Yash Ninjman, Dane Jackson, DJ Woonum, Josie Jewell, Jadavion Clowney, Sean Robinson, Damian Lewis, and Robert Hunt. JD, this is a team that I will say kind of a little difficult to talk about. And the reason why they're difficult to talk about is this team was not good last year. They were just not good. They're a team that, I'll be honest, I mean, I don't want to tip my pitch, but I'm not expecting them to be that good this year. And it just makes me think, JD, how much of this year will be focused on Bryce Young and his improvement? Because if they're bad again, which spoiler alert, they probably will be, and Bryce Young doesn't look any better, like if they're bad and he improves, all right, we got something to hang our hat on. But if he's bad and worse or the same and the team is bad, there's going to be a microscope on this team, no?
Yeah, and that's the tough part because, I mean, you and I both liked Bryce Young coming out. I know we both had the same concerns with his size.
I can't remember who I had above who, Bryce Young or CJ. I wasn't crazy about either of them.
I think I could be wrong. I think at the end, you and I both had CJ over him, but I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because I was probably wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's super tough to. It's a tough situation because Bryce Young he still has all the potential in the world to actually be good. And I know I'm the person who always says, oh, well, if you're a franchise quarterback, then you should have the ability to uplift the rest of your team, which is true. But this Carolina team just isn't talented.
Yeah.
Sure, they got Xavier Legette, who's good in Terrence Marshall Jr., and Jonathan Mingo, and list goes on, but I still don't think they're that good. Their offensive line, yes, they got Ike Ekwonu, who's going into year 3 now, I believe. He should be taking another step, but like realistically, their offensive line just looks like it's a bunch of band-aids, which isn't ideal.
Yeah.
So realistically, how much better is Bryce Young going to do on this team? What else is he going to have to show? for people to get off his back, because
Mm-hmm.
the way I see it is, and it's just how we are as like media and fans. But as long as Carolina's going to be bad, I don't see a world where they're like, okay, yeah, but Bryce Young has looked good, because
Mm-hmm.
chances are if Bryce Young looks good, the Panthers are probably not going to be as bad as we think they are.
Well, and here's the thing: there is one person on this team that I hate to say this because they're a rookie, but I am focusing on them so hard this year. Is the boy from South Carolina, the guy who I saw on social media has been named the most country on the team for the Carolina Panthers. Can you understand what he's talking about? Probably not. He's like Ed Orgeron out there, but I love him. Xavier Legette. He's the one I'm focusing on hardcore, because here's what I'm looking at. And I'll throw Deontay Johnson in here too. Is when you look at the Panthers last season, were they good wins to loss? No. 2 wins, 15 losses. But if you look at stats, it's like, okay, Bryce Young was overshadowed by CJ Stroud. It's going to happen when you're in the same draft class. But his stats, like 59.8 completion percentage, that's right near, it's just below, like 0.2% low of that 60% margin you want to be at. But he's close. Touchdowns, 11 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Yeah, is that good? No. But is it completely Bryce Young's fault? And like, would I have loved them to get a better offensive line? Yes. But they did still help Bryce Young. Chuba Hubbard, gonna be back. He had 900 yards last year. Like, getting close to 1,000 yards as a running back, that's no like thing to just scoff at and kind of push off. You can get 1,000 yards out of your running back, you take it. The biggest thing is their receivers. They have Adam Thielen, who I still love. Hope you're doing well, Adam. I wish you were still in Minnesota. He was a 1,000-yard receiver. He had 137 targets, JD. The next wide receiver for them was DJ Chark. How many yards do you think Chark had last year? If Thielen had just over 1,000, 1,014, how many yards do you think Chark had?
627.
You're about 100 off, 525.
Oh.
You overshot by 100, but that's still close. You're in the ballpark, JD. You're in the ballpark. They are now adding, though, to this team, Xavier Legette, who's one of this, I'm just going to say one of this stacked draft class at wide receiver. You and I gawked all last year about how the wide receiver class for last year was stacked. Not just the first, but the second, the third rounders were going to be of quality. Xavier Legette is in there. But then you're also adding Deontay Johnson, who had his problems with the Steelers. Him and George Pickett, he thought he should be getting more of the targets. Pickens was getting more of those targets. He still had 717 yards. So if you can give Legette and Johnson more targets, you can have Thielen be your number one wide receiver still. Legette, and as long as Legette and Johnson have more than 525 and 418, because Jonathan Mingo, who's still on the team, he was third with 418. As long as those two other guys can have more than 900 collective yards, this team will do better. Will they win? Maybe not. But will they be in games and be competitive? Maybe that may be the case.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it there, because I mean, honestly, at first, I think if you remember, if you guys were watching our day 2 draft live stream,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love the Legette pick for them. I didn't really understand it, but honestly, as camp has gone on, he's actually proven
Mm-hmm.
that take wrong. I actually think he can have a big season and honestly potentially be the number 1 wide receiver for this team
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. So, but yeah, I mean, if I think if the offensive line, I'm gonna bring it back to them. If the offensive line can keep
Can keep pounding.
sorry, if the offensive line can keep Bryce Young upright,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, that alone is going to uplift everyone else's production. I think that's really all it comes down to, because I do actually think Bryce Young will have a better year, but I just, like I said at the beginning, I don't know if that's going to be enough to get people to lay off of him.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, and then I could see like Leggett being 1,000-yard receiver as a rookie. Um, Mingo, again, I really like him. And Thielen, I mean, I honestly think Thielen could probably take a back seat,
Mm-hmm.
because
As the year
especially
goes on.
yeah, as the year goes on,
Okay.
because um I'm just, again, spoiler alert, like you, I don't really think the Panthers are going to be that great this year.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe by the midway point, maybe a little bit after the midway point, I
Mm-hmm.
could see the team being like, all right, Thielen, you're going to be second string behind, I don't know,
Leggett or
let's say,
Johnson.
yeah, Leggett, yeah, like,
If it's anybody, it's going to be Leggett.
yeah. So
I got a question for you, JD.
yeah.
How many times do you think Bryce Young was sacked last year?
Oh, I think it was an absurd amount, wasn't it? Wasn't it like 64?
So you're close. 62.
Mm,
Do you want to know something funny?
what?
Guess how many people were sacked more times than Bryce Young?
How many people?
Yeah, how many people?
No one. Who?
Sam Howell. Sam
Oh,
Howell was sacked 65 times. Bryce Young was sacked 62 times. The next highest sack number after that, I'm going to say two of them because the guy in third only played 12 games. It was Zach Wilson. The guy who was in fourth played 15 games, similar to Bryce Young and Howell. It was Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson and Zach Wilson. How many, I'll say just ballpark, how many less number? So like 5 less sacks, 10 less sacks. What margin do you think their sack numbers were below Bryce Young? Hi, everybody. Just want to take a quick moment out of today's podcast to tell you about our sponsor for today, BETUS, a sports book that has it all, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, soccer, whatever you like to bet on, BETUS has you covered. And they are offering our viewers and listeners today a 125% sign-up bonus just for using our link down below in the description. So go ahead, use that link down below and get your 125% sign-up bonus, BETUS. And now, let's get back to the podcast.
how many below Bryce Young?
Like how many less sacks do you think they had?
I'll say that they were in the 40s.
47 and 45, near 20 sacks less.
Yeah.
And like that right there, like as long as that number is lower, we're trending in the right direction. Like you're trending in the right direction if you're Carolina.
Now, I know that this isn't the right take,
Go ahead.
but I'm gonna say it because I've seen people say this on Twitter. Some people are like, "Oh, well, the year that Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl, he was sacked 60 times or whatever it was, and he took them to the Super Bowl." Yes, but you also got to remember that Bengals team clearly wasn't that bad. And he had weapons, and the offensive line, yes, was horrendous, and the reason why we lost the Super Bowl. But Joe Burrow, again, not to pump my own team, but him and Bryce Young are not the same. Let's just say it like
one's a generational talent and can actually beat Patrick Mahomes in a football game.
Yeah. So again, that's and I just think it's not the right take because clearly offensive line.
Would you count Joe Burrow as a generational talent?
No, I wouldn't say generational.
He's an above average talent, if not like top tier talent.
I would say he's a top tier talent. I would say top tier talent, not generational.
But he could beat Patrick Mahomes, that's for sure.
Yeah. And so like again, let's not be crazy when we say this. offensive line is honestly next to edge rusher, probably the most important.
Third most important.
Yeah, third most important position or position group.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if you have a great offensive line, it just, even if you don't have the best of weapons,
Mm-hmm.
it gives your quarterback time to process and eventually hit the open guy, because DBs can't cover forever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Especially when you have a rookie.
yeah.
When you have a rookie and it's like, okay, we got to give him more time. It's not. And yet again, you could say, well, Ricky, it's because, like, oh, he's a rookie. But yet again, Joe Burrow was different. Joe Burrow is different to where some guys don't need a lot of time. Now, you could use that as a negative against Bryce Young of like, whoa, like, he's got to get better, make rapid decisions. But that will come with time. He's only been in the, like, I'm going to use you went Joe Burrow, I'm going to use the CJ Stroud here, right?
Yeah.
So people coming into this season, we talked about CJ Stroud in the last podcast. People are all like, oh man, I can't wait for the Texans. How great are they going to be? Oh, CJ Stroud. Basically what they're doing. And I'm on the side of like, hey, they did good last year, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let me see another. Not saying that like I think CJ Stroud's going to suck, but let's pump the brakes. There was an entire season of footage. Now teams coming in will know how to scout CJ Stroud better. And it's like, okay, let's take a look at him here. Let's look at what we're doing. Whereas with Bryce Young, the truth thing can be said on the other side. Hey, just because you had a bad rookie year or a subpar rookie year doesn't mean your career is defined. Doesn't mean that, okay, you're done. This Panther team is bad. They need to grow together. The point is, you've got Bryce Young. Hopefully he's going to grow with Xavier Legette. Hopefully you have your 1-2 to the future that Legette can then go up and be your number one target for him. And like you said, all things out of camp is very positive about Xavier Legette right now. Add pieces. Build the team. Look at like what the Bears did. The Bears, hey, they didn't have that great of a team last year. Their timeline obviously changed by getting Caleb Williams, which Panther fans are like, really, Ricky? Like, you're going to bring that up now? You're going to bring that up here? Like, that was our pick? I know we made the wrong trade, but like, there's different times to press the button. And just because he had a bad year one, doesn't mean we should be giving up on Bryce Young. It's kind of where I'm getting at with this one. Like, we shouldn't just give up on him. Now, 2 more years, we're having a different conversation at that point. We're having a much different conversation. But, JD, that is going to bring us into a team that finished 3rd last year, but they got some hype this year. The hot Atlanta Falcons, the Dirty Birds are back in the room. As let's look over what they lost, what they gained, and then take a look at the Dirty Birds. So who did they lose to free agency? They lost Albert Higgins, Felipe Frank, Mac Hollins, who, if you have not seen Mac Hollins, weird dude. Weird dude with some of the things that I'm just going to leave it at that. Not super weird, but just kind of a dude that's a little off in my mind. But hell of a football player. Trey Flowers, McCoy Pruitt, Cadrell Hodge, Scotty Miller, Van Jefferson, Matt Hennessy, Kentavious Street still there, Calais Campbell, Jeff Okuda, Bud Dupree, Cordell Patterson, and Jonnu Smith. Who did the Falcons bring in? If I could change over my my spot rack really quick, they bring in Jakeem Grant, Brady Lee, Ross Dooley, James Smith-Williams, Antonio Hamilton, Ray McLeod, also Kentavious Street. I was wrong. They kept him in free agency. I said they lost him. They kept him. Charlie Warner, Darnell Mooney from Da Bears, and JD, the guy we're going to start with, the biggest addition to this team. I don't have my khakis on right now.
Wait, Ricky, you forgot.
What?
They also brought someone else in today.
Oh, who did they bring in today?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot because you mentioned it, and I don't remember because you mentioned it. I had
Hold
this
on.
whole I had this whole segue plan, JD. I was going into the segue. I don't have my khakis on. I was going to talk about my coal cash.
I got it.
Go.
It's Matthew Judon.
Matthew Judon. Yay.
Yeah,
Woo!
forgot.
Thank God we didn't forget Matthew Judon.
I mean, it's a good pickup.
But like I was saying, I don't have my khakis on. I got my coal cash in my wallet just for the occasion. Gonna put some bets on this guy potentially this year. The biggest free agent signing for this team. Kirk O'Chains, baby. You like that? Kirk Cousins in the room. JD, obviously, my opinion, being a Viking fan, has been the same since the beginning. Thank you for your service, Kirk Cousins, as a Vikings quarterback. However, I understand why you left. I am happy for your service. I wish you great things in Hotlanta, but at least now my team can look on and hopefully win a Super Bowl because I wasn't going to win it with you. JD, Falcons adding a big piece. They're adding a quarterback who can finally throw the ball. Arthur Smith is out of town. They bring in, I'm going to say old coach, new coach, Raheem Morris, who has, I believe, been a head coach for the Falcons before. Let me look it up real quick, fact check myself. Yeah, he was the interim head coach for the Falcons in 2020. So Raheem Morris coming back, now getting the full-time gig with the Falcons. JD, how big of an improvement will the Falcons be with Kirk O'Chains at quarterback? Is this going to be like, did they go from laughingstock? Well, not really laughingstock because the Panthers were behind you, but like near laughingstock to now division contenders?
Yeah, I think so, but honestly, I don't think that's or I don't put too much credit into them. I
Okay.
mean, I am very down on the NFC South.
Okay.
I do not think it's going to be a good division. But I mean, hey, man.
They still got to have a team win the division, and at least one team's got to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they have definitely improved, especially like if you're a Falcons fan, this should be at least an exciting year for you. Again, I'm like Ricky. I don't love Kirk Cousins as a quarterback, but I don't
Great
think
guy,
you
though.
have,
Fantastic man.
yeah. And I don't think you have Super Bowl ambitions yet. So, hey, if he can take you to the playoffs, I would say that's pretty good. But yeah, this team is talented. Bijan Robinson, absolutely love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he balls out in year 2.
I hope so too. I have a bet on him to be Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
$5 to win 300, JD.
that's pretty good.
And he's my fantasy running back.
Yeah. And then yeah, you still got Drake London. Like your wide receiver room is good. Again, I say this every year. Please, please, please get Kyle Pitts involved into your stupid offense. If not, trade him. You're holding him hostage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean this team, they should be good. The defense I actually really do like. AJ Terrell is great. Jesse Bates is great. Mike Hughes is good. They have Clark Phillips III, who's a good young corner. And then the defensive line now with Matthew Judon, he's going to help. You have Grady Jarrett. And then you also have Arnold Ebiketie. So, yeah, you have some talent on the defense. I think the defense is probably a little bit better than your offense. But I do think you have a team good enough to win the NFC South.
And JD's like, that's not saying much.
It's not, but that's a 10 or 9 win team. So, I mean, hey, that's an improvement from where they were last year.
So, I'm glad you mentioned somebody because I was actually pulling up my stuff to talk about him. And that is your boy Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Because you feel strongly about Kyle Pitts because you're a Florida fan.
Yeah.
And you love Kyle Pitts. So here's the thing that I'm kind of thinking of is I don't know how this year is going to go for Kyle Pitts. And the reason why is, JD, I'm going to give you some numbers real quick. When it comes to Kirk O'Chains, chains, not change like in your pocket, but chain around your neck. These were his numbers to tight ends. And yet again, I will say, think about who was his tight ends. So in the 29, I'm going back 5 years. So in 2019, that was his second year. Actually, screw it. We'll go back to 2018 because 2018 was his first year in Minnesota. We'll just do all his years in Minnesota because those are the ones that really matter, right, JD? We're the ones in Minnesota. Yeah. So in 2018, Kyle Rudolph was his top tight end, 82 targets, 64 receptions, 634 yards. In 2019, it was also Kyle Rudolph. Went down to 367 yards. In 2020, it was ya boy Irv Smith Jr., JD. Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph, they both split about 300 yards. Then it was in 2021, Tyler Conklin, 593. Then the last 2 years, it was TJ Hawkinson. First year was about 519, but this last year was the big one. With an actual offensive head coach in Kevin O'Connell, 960 yards with Hawkinson. Yeah. Another thing to bring in, Zach Robinson coming over to be the OC of the Falcons. Raheem Morris was with the Rams last year. He's with the Falcons. Zach Robinson coming over was the pass game coordinator for the Rams last year. He comes over to be the OC. Last year for the Rams, their leading tight end was Tyler Higbee. Now, Tyler Higbee did deal with a little bit of an injury last year. He had 495 yards last year. So, to me, I think it's going to be a combination of the two that's going to affect this. Kirk coming in. He's had success throwing to tight ends. The Rams, I think it was 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago, 2022, which was the Tyler Higbee 620-yard season. He had 108 targets, and they basically relied on him and Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp, I think that was the one where Cooper Kupp had the phenomenal year for the Rams. I'm on the fence, though, of will these two be able to get the most out? And what I mean these two is Kirk, Robinson. Will they be able to get the most out of Kyle Pitts and actually use him right in the offense? Because we knew Arthur Smith didn't know what he was doing.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I do think, I hope that it will be better and they will be able to get the most out of Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
But again, and I'm not even saying this as a meme or as a joke, but if you're not going to use him, trade him and get value.
Mm-hmm.
Be a competent organization.
While he still has value.
Yes, because guess what? Again, for as much as I love him and know how skilled he is, another year of doing sweet, okay, we're going to just use it, sweet all, his value is going to go down the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to stop myself, and then I remembered.
We're on Rumble.
Yeah, so, but yeah, his value is going to go right down the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, but if you can use him, then that's just another weapon for this offense, and I think it could help unlock the offense, specifically the wide receivers.
Yeah, which I will say, I had to look up. Zach Robinson was with the Rams in his pass game coordinator role for the last 2 years. So his first year in that role was the 620-yard Tyler Higbee season. Yeah. Last year, Kyle Pitts, 667 yards on 90 targets. He had 90 targets. It's just it didn't help that Jonnu Smith also had 70 targets.
Yeah.
582 yards. Like, that's the thing. Like, are they going to rely on him solely? Now, the good thing is Jonnu Smith no longer on this team. Right now, the backup tight end is Charlie Woerner. Charlie Woerner, or Woner, Woerner, Erner. He nowhere near Jonnu Smith. It's your job, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
You're the number one tight end. The other thing though is like Drake London. He about to have a big season in my mind. Not like offensive player of the year big, but he gonna have a big year because he's got Kirko Chains now thrown to him. The question with this Falcon team, do they have Bijan, they have Kyle Pitts, they have Drake London. Can those weapons alone be good enough for Kirko? Because Bear fans are going to be saying, "Oh man, Darnell Mooney, he's a good weapon for him. He's good, but he's not like top tier." You've got Ray McLeod III as your slot receiver right now. Behind them, Casey Washington, the rookie, Chris Blair, Kadarl Hodge, to where it's like, do they have enough talent behind Bijan, Pitts, and London to do what they want to do and win this division or even go to the playoffs?
Yeah, well, if injuries start taking a toll on that wide receiver room, and I guess Bijan, actually, well, I think at running back they could be fine, because Tyler Algier is actually pretty decent.
Yes.
But if they start getting bagged up in the wide receiver room, then that's maybe where my thought of them leading the division kind of dwindles. Because like I don't think they don't really have any depth. I mean, Jakeem Grant is okay, James Washington is okay, but I mean, besides that, those guys aren't really, they're like borderline roster players. So they just need to stay healthy in that specific position group.
Well, the thing that I do like about this team, though, the Falcons, is I liked their hire. And Atlanta fans, let me know what you guys think, because he was interim coach 2020, then went to LA. Now he's back, Raheem Morris. I actually didn't mind the hiring. I actually liked it. He's a guy that knows your culture. He's been there before as a DC and was your interim coach. And I just have a feeling that Raheem Morris is going to, yes, he's a defensive-minded head coach. So Zach Robinson's pretty much going to have, he's going to have the say of what's going on with that offense. But Raheem Morris is going to get these boys ready to play each week. He's going to motivate them. He's going to have that defense ready. And like my question with the Falcons comes in of, so the Panthers will be no problem, sadly. Sorry, Panther fans. But I look at it and I go, the Saints, who we'll get into in a second, might not be that optimistic on them this year. To me, it's going to be a two-dog race. We'll get into the other two teams in a second, but to me, it's a two-team race here in the NFC. It's which team who, in my mind, are the two best, will be the two best coach teams in the division. They will both have solid defenses this year. They will both have offensive weapons and quarterbacks that help them excel. It's either going to be these Falcons or the Buccaneers that win this division.
Yep. I couldn't agree anymore. I also like the hire. The hire, I think, it's kind of a nice story too. Like you said, he was the intern in 2020.
Yep. DC became the interim.
Yeah, and then he, came back. So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, again, we'll touch on the other two teams in a minute, but I agree. I mean, I think again, I think this team has ballers on it now. And I think now they're young, their former young players are now starting to get into their primes. So not that this team will be a threat this year, but they're going to be in contention.
You're reading my mind, JD. I was going to ask you, if this team gets to the playoffs, do they make a run? Does Kirko make a run? You know my answer.
Yeah, I don't think they'll make a run, but like I said, if I'm a Falcons fan, my goal is just to make it to the playoffs, show that growth. Again, hopefully, like your young guys, like Bijan. I believe he was a little banged up last year. They just didn't use him effectively.
He was injured.
Yeah.
They listed him as injured when he wasn't injured.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully he actually takes the bull by the horns and
Mm-hmm.
has an unreal year.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I mean, I know you're probably excited about Kirk Cousins, but I guess you got to hope that hopefully maybe you get some Michael Penix development for going forward, because I don't know how long Kirk's gonna be your starter or be at least a good starter
Well, I
for you.
mean, so he signed a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
I would say at least, and I don't know if Atlanta fans want to hear this with the Penix situation as I drop my pen, JD. I think you got Kirk for 2 to 3. And what I mean is it's either going to be this year, next year, and then in 2026, we see the transfer of power mid-season to Penix, or they're going to Aaron Rodgers it and say, you know what, after that 3rd year, that's when they might pull the trigger and have the potential, because there's a potential out before the final year.
Yeah.
So we'll know it's going to be at least 3 years, I would say, for Penix before he's in football action. But JD, let's move on to the Saints, the team that finished second. One of these two teams. What did they lose in free agents? Keith Kirkwood is gone. Ty Summers is gone. Ugo Amadi is still there. Marcus May is gone. Zach Bond is gone. Isaac Ayedam is gone. PJ Mustipher, Lonnie Johnson, Andres Pete, Jameis Winston, he's now in Cleveland. Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Malcolm Roach. And then you have Malcolm Roach being the last one. I thought they had one more, but they don't. Who do they bring in? They bring in Tremaine Ankrum, Mac McCain, Shamir Jean Charles. They got Shane Lemieux, Stanley Morgan. Stanley Morgan makes me laugh because that's it's the same name as, like, I think a law firm or something. Equiminius St. Brown, brother to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They bring in Kalike Hudson, Will Harris, Lucas Patterson, Oli Udu, Willie Gray Jr., Cedric Wilson, and then Chase Young from the Niners. JD, this is a team that, I'll be completely honest, the Saints. I've heard our buddy, he's a dear friend of mine, JD, Jake Neverman. And I hear him talk about this team. Now, they did draft, to me, a solid left tackle, Talise Fuaga. So they add him to this team. They also got guys like Kyle Hergel, Bob Means, Christian Boyd, Jalen Ford, Kool-Aid McKinstry coming in to be secondary. Like, right now they're listed as backups on it, in all rookies. Is it just me? Or I totally in my head mixed up Kool-Aid McKinstry with HaHa Clinton Dix.
Did you?
Because I saw Kool-Aid McKinstry's name and I was like, on our lads, they have the rookies as yellow. And I read his name and I was like, he's not a rookie. He played for the Packers. And I'm thinking, oh no, that's HaHa Clinton Dix. Yeah. That's not even Kool-Aid McKinstry. Kool-Aid McKinstry was in this draft class. I forgot about. Dude, we take our summer off after the draft. For me, it was a little bit longer. You were a little bit longer than me because I had the holdover of the draft room with Dave on the NBA side. Yeah. I forgot he was in this draft class entirely. Like, you just forget who was in the draft class, and you come back like, oh, that's right, he was in that draft class. But yeah, Kool-Aid McKinstry, they've got guys listed as the second tier on their depth chart right now. However, like, I look at this team and I go, okay, you were second in the division last year. They won 9 games. Really, they were tied with the Buccaneers. Buccaneers were 9-8. The Saints were 9-8. Looking at how the season went down for the Saints was they split with the Bucs. They won their last 2 games. They just couldn't get one loss from the Buccaneers to seal it. I look at this Saints team though, and I kind of agree with our buddy Jake. I don't think it's going to be a good year. I mean, Jake is just super negative about Derek Carr, but like,
really? I thought he liked Derek Carr.
no, he does not like Derek Carr at all.
Because I was the one who's hated Derek Carr for like the last 5 years.
I've been hearing
Jake
all week hanging out with Jake. He's been calling Derek Carr a bum.
Well, good. I'm glad he's on my side of things now.
Because I would then make the comment of like, I'd take Derek Carr on the Vikings. I'll take him if you don't want.
That's not saying
him.
much, especially now with your boy JJ the Jet playing.
Yeah. We're gonna overlook that one a little bit. But like they have Juwan Johnson, their tight ends on the pup list. Like the big thing is Derek Carr, love him or hate him, he's serviceable.
Yes.
Would you rather, like JD, I bring up, would you rather in my situation? Would you rather have Sam Darnold, who I do think Sam Darnold's gonna have a better year because he has better weapons now, but would you rather have Derek Carr or Sam Darnold? Thank you. Alvin Kamara, he's going to be a beast because he's on my fantasy team. But I look at the wide receivers, and that's where I kind of focus in on of like, Chris Olave going to be good. Yeah. Shaheed, is he going to be as good as he was last year? Other than that, who do you got? Equanimeous St. Brown, last time I think he played an amazing season of football, he was wearing a golden helmet. So maybe he puts on the gold Saint helmet, and it feels like a golden dome again, and he snaps back to Notre Dame Equanimeous St. Brown. I don't know. But like, I just see this team, and it's like, does Derek Carr have the weapons to be successful?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, I thought you said now, but you said no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
This Saints offense, quite honestly, I mean, it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You have Alvin Kamara, and I know you have him on your fantasy team, but let's be honest, the guy gets hurt quite a bit. So once he goes down, then you have Jamal Williams, who's good. But
you also have Miller from TCU.
Yeah,
he's also
Kendra
good.
Miller. Yeah. So I mean, your running back is fine, and so if your plans to run the ball, great. But yeah, wide receiver, Chris Olave, proven that he was good. He was better than I thought he would be. Rashid Shaheed, he had a good year last year. He's an exciting player, but like you said, is he going to live up to those expectations? We'll have to see. And then after that, like you said, St. Brown maybe is the third best wide receiver on this team. Stanley Morgan, I know you brought him in, but I doubt he plays because for the Bengals for the last 5 or 6 years, he's just been a special teamer. And then so realistically, I could see the Saints being a team that they'll go after a wide receiver that gets cut, like let's say an unexpected starter gets cut right after the third preseason game. I could see them going after one of those types of players because, man, I think this might be the weakest wide receiver room in the league.
Question for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not hoping this, obviously, because I'm a Viking fan. If Jordan Addison has one more slip up, he gets cut from the Vikings. Do the Saints bring him in?
Well, did you see the news today with Addison?
Did he have another slip up?
No, he has a season-ending injury.
Oh, okay. Then no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, or at least
disregard that question. Disregard that question, then, JD. Yeah, cut it off with a leg injury. Our season's gonna be bad.
And you had
I thought.
And you had another wide receiver who got carted off with a leg injury today too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like let's just use as an example.
Oh, right here, I'm seeing ankle injury reportedly not serious
for Addison.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well that's good then, because
update on Jordan Addison, injured his ankle, unlikely to practice tomorrow, but KOC doesn't believe it to be serious. I think he's going to be okay. KOC said. Okay. So let's say he's okay. If he has another incident where he gets cut, do the Saints pick him up?
I think I would say on BETUS, I think he would be the leading odds, or the Saints would be the leading odds team to land him. But again, so then we're sticking with the offense though. This might be the worst offensive line in football. Absolutely love Talise Fuaga. I
Yep.
think the guy's gonna be an absolute baller, but he is a rookie left tackle in the NFL, so your expectations have to be a little bit limited with him. Eric McCoy is fine. Cesar Ruiz isn't good. And unfortunately, I mean, Trevor Penning was somebody I really liked coming out of his draft class, but he just hasn't developed. And his big problem was that he was raw coming
Is
out.
Trevor Penning the one that they drafted where Jake no, he's not. He's Northern Iowa. I was trying to think who the guy was. Maybe it was a defensive where Jake was like, oh, they drafted him. And then like 2 days later, it was like, okay, I watched film.
Wasn't that Peyton Turner?
You're right. That was Peyton Turner. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
And Peyton Turner sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, this offense is just going to be a mess. And I know, kind of pull back the curtain. We've been talking to Jake about the Saints probably like the last 2 days since Madden's come out.
Yeah.
And you asked him like, oh, isn't the Saints defense, good? And he said, well, they've gotten worse, which is true. But I think the defense is going to be like the only saving grace for this team.
Yeah.
Because they still got guys on it. Are you cool if we go to the defense now?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Take it.
All right. Yeah, so honestly, I don't really, so I'm looking at ESPN's depth chart here, and I don't really understand it because so they have Nathan Shepard as one of the starting defensive tackles.
That is correct. Our lad says the same thing.
Which I don't really get. Nathan Shepard has never really been he's been like a practice squad guy. But somebody I'm really excited for is Brian Burries. He's going into year 2 now. He had a good rookie season and he was able to stay healthy, which was like the big question mark with him coming out of the draft.
He was in Clemson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was him and Miles Murphy.
Yes.
So like he was good. It was just he couldn't stay healthy. But now, hopefully he continues that. I think he could have a big season for this defense. And because he has Cameron Jordan on one side and Carl Granderson on the other.
Well, that's like I'm gonna cut you off for a second because to add on to that, you know who I don't want to say hopeful, I don't want to say unhopeful, but the one guy I'm looking at in the same kind of vein, but for a different reason, Chase Young. Yeah. This guy has the talent to be a terror on this defense.
Yep.
Will he be able to kick it into gear though? Because he didn't in Washington, and then with San Francisco, it was kind of like a backseat. Yeah, kind of like he didn't need to be that. Is he actually going to be a terror on this defense, or will he be just like, I'm a second stringer kind of floating along?
Well, that's the thing, because I was actually going to mention him as well, because as a rookie, Chase Young was unreal.
Yeah.
He showed every bit of talent he had coming out of college, but then injuries, caught up with him.
True.
But I'm willing to say that, especially somebody that's still as young as him, they don't just forget how to pass rush if you're that elite. So
you're right. AP Defensive Rookie of the Year is first year in 2020.
Yeah, he was a baller. So I'm willing to say if he start, or maybe not starts, but if he gets a good amount of rotational snaps, I mean, there's no reason why he can't be at least a 7, maybe a 7 or 8 sack guy.
Yeah.
And kind of build his name back up. But again, it's just about staying healthy for him. And then obviously the secondary is still good. You have Marshawn Lattimore. I know he battles injury, but Kool-Aid McKinstry should be good for them. You have Alontae Taylor, who was he had a good rookie season last year. And then you still have Tyrann Mathieu. So your secondary should be good still. Oh, sorry, and Paulson Adebo as well.
I think we can be in agreement that the defense is probably going to be the better unit of this team when we're looking offense defense.
Oh, no questions asked. Yeah.
It's just can the offense not shoot itself in the foot and score some points for this team? Not that like they're not going to be the lowest scoring offense in the league, but it's like
It
I
might
just
be
look at the
close.
offense. There's so many questions that I have.
Yeah.
The defense, I'm just like, you know what? Just they can hold their own. Because I'll be honest, like I do want to move on
Yeah.
because it's kind of like a flowing situation. A team that I expect to challenge again for the division lead is who won the division last year in the Buccaneers. Very quickly, they lose Cam Gill, David Moore, D. Delaney, Aaron Stinney. They lose Russell Gage. They lose Nick Leverett. Devin White is gone. Shaquille Barrett is gone. Who do they bring in when it comes to free agency? Let me switch over my teams a little bit. They bring in Breece Hall, running back. They bring on Opeta from the Eagles, Sterling Shepard from the Giants, Tavarian Thomas from the Houston Texans, Randy Gregory, Ben Bredson, Greg Gaines is still there. They also bring in Jordan Whitehead from the Jaguars. This is a team I look at, JD. They don't loot like there are some losses that I'm like, okay, Shaq Barrett, Devin White's a big one. Losing him to Philly, that's a pretty big loss, but like they don't have a ton of big losses. How did they recoup those losses? Well, they're going to take a swing on Randy Gregory. We know the history with Randy Gregory in this league. They also, to me, drafted well. Like I look offensively, Baker's still there. Love him, hate him. He's still there. You've got Rashad White, and now they have rookie Bucky Irving that's going to be backing him up, which I loved Bucky Irving at Oregon last year. They also bring in Jalen McMillan, another Pac-12 guy, now Big Ten team. So now their three wide receivers are going to be Mike Evans on one side. Looks like they're going to put McMillan on the other side and let Chris Godwin just roam around in the slot. Like, this team should be divisional leaders again. The only question I have is, can the Falcons overtake them? Bucks are in the driver's seat to me to win this division. They do their job, they win the division. Question is, will the Falcons overtake them? And will the Bucks be another 9-8 team and win the division, or can they actually be a double-digit win team this year?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I feel like the Bucks honestly didn't get that much better.
Okay. They kind of stayed the same, though.
Yeah.
Says a lot about the division that they're staying the same with a little losses, and I still feel confident in them winning the division.
Exactly. And it's like what we talked about when we were touching on the not the Vikings, the Falcons.
Oh, okay.
The Falcons. I see this being a two-team race between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. I would probably still give the slight edge to the Buccaneers. Because I mean the offense is still fine. I mean the offensive line is a little iffy. I mean Cody Mock is somebody that I like at right guard, and obviously Tristan Wirfs, if he stays healthy, is a very good left tackle. But I mean Baker showed that he actually fits in with his team really well. And then Bucky Irving against the Bengals in the preseason this year or last weekend, he actually looked very good. So that's definitely I could see him taking over as RB1 at some point this year, if I'm being honest. And then you still, like you said, with the wide receivers, they have three very good wide receivers. But like the questions for me still come from the defense. Kalijah Cansey is somebody who, again, I really liked last year coming out of the draft, and he's looking to build upon a good rookie season. You still have Vita Vea, who's probably the best nose tackle in the league. But my questions come from the secondary. You've lost pieces over the last few years from the secondary, which I feel like is your biggest weak point on this team. Jordan Whitehead is good. So that's not a problem. But I mean, your number one corner is probably Jamal Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, and I forgot. You still have Antoine Winfield, who's also
Junior.
good. Yeah.
I hope Antoine Winfield Sr. still isn't playing, JD. That would be a problem. He might get roasted now.
Yeah, but you still have Winfield Jr.
Mm-hmm.
But your corners, I still think that's probably your weakest point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean the team for the NFC South is still good.
Mm-hmm.
Like from their standards. It's just kind of like what we said about the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
If they make the playoffs, how deep are they really going to go?
Well, I'm going to say this, and this is one thing that I wanted to wait until we went through all the teams to get to. The Bucs are in the driver's seat, is what I said. You want to know if they do not win the division. I'm not saying they're going to lose it for sure. I'm not going to say they're going to win it for sure. If they lose the division, you want to know why they will lose the division?
Why?
Because the Falcons have the easiest schedule in football and they ain't even close. Like looking at the graph, the Falcons right now, their strength of schedule is let's see. They don't even have this. Basically, it's like you look at the graph and they are so much higher than the Chargers are, who are second, that it's not even funny. Like between fifth and fourth, you have the Saints and the Jets, and it's like this close. Then the Jets and the Bears are this close. Then it's like, okay, the Bears and the Chargers, there's a little bit more gap. And then the Chargers and Falcons, it's like this. Like it is like a huge gap between the Chargers and the Falcons. And the reason why is so for the NFC South this year, they play their own division, which isn't tough.
Yeah.
Like their division's not tough. Then you play, so everyone's playing the NFC East and the AFC West. Which, let's put it this way, the AFC West, we're going to get to them in the next podcast that we do. It's the Chiefs and everyone else. So that's not a tough division. However, it's where the non-common games are. Because I'm just going to use Tampa Bay and the Falcons. Tampa Bay, they play the Lions from the north at Detroit. They play the Ravens on Monday Night Football. And they play the 49ers week 10 at home. Lions, 49ers, Ravens. First place. One of those teams was in the Super Bowl. Another one of those teams was probably a game away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Good luck. Whereas the Falcons, they get to play. So while Tampa's going to Detroit, Kirk Cousins gets to return to Minnesota week 14. Not only are the Vikings a fourth place team this year, but guess what? Kirk Cousins coming home to Minnesota, that's a revenge game. Check it. He's gonna have the game of his life in that game. When it comes to the AFC North, while the Buccaneers get to play the Ravens, guess what? Falcons get to open the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the best time to play the Steelers is right now because they're a little bit disjumbled with their quarterback and learning the playbook and not having like easier opponent, best time to play them week 1. And then you look at what was the last division? I lost it. NFC West. The NFC West team that the Falcons get to play are the Seahawks week 7. They're just playing the easier of the teams.
Yeah.
The way easier of the teams.
Yeah.
Whereas the Saints, just to throw them in there, I will, because I'll throw it in there. They play at Lambeau week 16. They play at home against the Rams week 13. And they play at home against the Browns week 11.
Yeah, so I would say it's like middle of the pack.
Middle. But Good luck, Tampa Bay, with those three uncommon games.
That could be. I want to see what wins the division for the Falcons.
What wins the division? Probably those three games, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That could be that could be the thing that wins the division.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you would. I thought you were phrasing it like you can't wait to see, or you're wondering what will be the thing that wins them the division. Because, so I look at the Buccaneers, right? Their last 5 games, they play Vegas at home, the Chargers on the road. Winnable games. Chargers, will see how they are at the end if they're figuring things out at that point. Then they go to Dallas, home against the Panthers, home against the Saints. That Saints game, that's going to be a rival. That's going to be divisional game. Could be a lot of things on the line. That Dallas game in Dallas is going to be tough. Falcons, last 5 games. At Minnesota, revenge game. At Vegas, home against the Giants, at Commanders, home against the Panthers. I'm sorry, that Falcons last 5, they could go 5. I'll even put in the 6th game. Post bye weeks, they have a week 12 bye. The Chargers are before that Viking game. There's a chance the Falcons come out of the bye, win their last 6. Oh, by the way, they're at Mile High before the bye, so they might go 7-0 to end the year. They have a chance to go 7-0 to end the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's kind of crazy how much easier the schedule is for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I mean, we'll find out when we do it, but I think
their line is 9. Their line is 9.5. So let's see, 7 wins there. They'll beat the Saints at least once. They'll beat the Panthers a second time. That's 9 wins right there. Oh man, I might bet Falcons over 9.5 this year. I may have to do that, JD, but go ahead.
I kind of I lost what
you lost what you were gonna say. Yeah, that's usually what I do. I anything else you need to say about the Buccaneers or the division? You were talking about it's shocking how easy schedules are.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I mean, with that being said, the Viking, or I don't know why I keep saying the Vikings.
Because Kirk Cousins used to play for the Vikings.
Yeah, the Buccaneers, they just they're still a good team, or they're an average team.
They didn't lose a lot, but they didn't gain a lot.
Exactly, and I would have liked to see them add, but I kind of get it because, I mean, I feel like they're just trying to figure out who is the future of this team.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in the meantime, I mean, they're gonna be fighting for that division win, or that divisional win, and I would probably give them the slight edge as of today.
I don't know who I'm going to have this division. I think it's either going to be the Falcons or the Bucks.
Yeah,
it's either going to be those two teams. But this is where you guys come in. If you guys haven't already, let us know what you guys think down below. Remember, join the Discord down below in the description. Greatest community in the universe. You can talk to all of the MVP fandom, the MVP nation, MVP Army is what we call them. The MVP Army. What's up, nation? But join the Discord, support us on Patreon, follow our socials. All those are in the description. Sign up for BETUS. Get that match deposit when you go ahead and sign up. Link in the description as well. Let us know what you guys think about what we talked about today. Hit that like button, that sub button. Check out our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Check out the uncensored version on Rumble as well. JD, we will be back in a couple days talking about the AFC West and going from one division where it's like, wow, this ain't a great division, to, wow, there's one good team in this division. And then a lot of other not so good teams. So next podcast should be, the next 2 should be interesting because I feel like we have the 3 weakest divisions, top to bottom, here at the end. And then we'll have our predictions for you after that. Check that out. Next week will be our predictions and stuff. But thank you guys for everything you do. JD and I will be back in a couple days talking AFC West. JD, thank you for everything you do, being my co-partner through this. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
See ya.
As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.